May it be the shadows call, we'll fly away. May it be your journey on to light the day. When night is overcome, you may rise to find the sun. One way
Hello, I'm Tim O'Connor, and you're watching Portal TV. Now, this week, we're still in our beta test week, but as you can see, we're actually on our SyTECH show, if you can see the graphic behind me. And so, while it's not going to be the full-blown show, which is normally anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the science discussions or technology discussions we want to have, we do have 2 spots. And again, this is just for testing, getting us from point A to point B. Then we'll get into the gaming. You guys can see me die horribly in Titanfall. First thing I'd like to talk about is SpaceX. Now, if anyone knows anything about SpaceX, Elon Musk, the owner of the company, who was also the man behind PayPal, is the man behind Tesla automobiles, and SpaceX, has been an advocate for going to Mars forever. In fact, he's still planning with his company to get to Mars surface by 2020. In the steps to get there, one of the steps he has with his Dragon spacecraft is to get it to land vertically back under the ground. Now why would we want to take a $100 million piece of equipment, shoot it up into space, and be able to bring it down safely? Because it costs $100 million to do it. And that's normally what it costs to have a major launch for anything that's going up to service the ISS or any type of spaceborne missions. So right now, and forgive me, I don't have the figure in front of me, it's either $4,700 or $47,000 per pound, either is pretty big, to send anything into space right now. What Elon's trying to do by reusing the lower stages of their rockets is to bring that price down to $470, and in time, maybe even the tens of dollars. I have a video here I want to show you of one of their test rigs, which is called the Grasshopper. To the best of my knowledge, they've never had a failure, these test rigs, ever. They've all gone flawlessly. One even took off and did lateral movements back and forth and then came down and landed. The reason I'm bringing all this up is the next flight, their 3rd supply flight for the International Space Station, which will happen at the end of this month, is when they will try for the first time to bring that first stage back down. Now, they're not going to land it on land the first time, because obviously there's a lot of testing still to be done. But what they are going to do, and this is the exciting part, is they're going to bring it in at a pinpoint location. This is after coming back out of orbit, through the plasma, slowing it down with retros and thrusters, get into proper altitude and attitude as they bring it in to try and land it. They're going to bring it right above the ocean, turn off the engines and let it drop in. Then they're going to pull that baby out and take a look at it and see what they did right or what they did wrong. So here we go. Let me play this right now for you. And this is not an animation. This is not stop motion. This is real time. It's being filmed from about 1,000 feet up by a quadcopter. I love this stuff. Again, this is not an animation. Now here's the beauty of this, is it gets right up to the horizon. You can see that it lines up perfectly and maintains perfect altitude for about 5 seconds there before they start to bring it back down. And just look how hot those landing gear are getting. They're smoking. Smoking hot. And they almost land it back on the dime. Love it. If he accomplishes this, and they're able to bring these first stages back from orbit, the costs of taking anything from Earth to space will be tremendously diminished. So kudos for him. Now the next one is huge. Unless you've been living underneath a rock for the past 2 or 3 days, I'm sure you've heard the tremendous announcement when it comes to the inflation theory of the cosmos. Now, in a nutshell, what this is as we began to understand the true dimensions of our universe, we found out something was wrong. At 28 billion light years across, it was too big. Too big when you take in the equations of the Einsteinian light speed barrier. We were too big. So in the 70s, some of our brightest came up with what was called the inflationism theory. And that was that at microseconds, trillions of trillions of trillions of a second, at the ignition of our universe, it expanded much more rapidly than the speed of light. And that made all our theories kind of work together pretty well. Unless you want to put black holes into that, that's a whole other story. We'll get to that later. Another time, another show. But the point of it is that we've never had the fingerprint. We've never seen the smoking gun of that information until now. It's the biggest thing since Einstein himself. This is bigger than atomic energy. This is almost as big as the dark matter breakthroughs we've had just in the past couple years. And I'm going to show you a video here in just a second describing some of that. For the first time, based on the Einsteinian information, we were able to see, or we think we were able to see, the very elusive gravity waves. Now, this isn't just big for astronomers. This is huge for physicists, theorists, you name it out there in our scientific community. So I'm going to show you a part of a British program where two ladies who are also, they're part of a European effort from the Plunkett spacecraft, which is a spacecraft by the Europeans, which is much more expensive than our observatory down at the South Pole, which is where we got this signature situation going. Speaking on this, and their excitement about it is really infectious. Let me play that now for you.
In the studio in London, one of whom at least is involved. You both involved in the Planck project. Just you. You're involved.
Planck project.
Exciting day, isn't it?
It is an amazing day. This buzz has been building for a few days. There were all these rumors on the internet and people were discussing what could come, but I think the news that we got today exceeded certainly my expectations. The level of the signal was very high. This was unexpected because, like he said, the Planck collaboration had set this slightly lower limit, and that's very interesting. But the way that the experiment actually worked and the level of the very low noise they were able to achieve with that in order to detect this signal, I think is an incredible achievement.
Now, the enthusiasm of the next speaker is really infectious.
Maggie, is there anything you would like to ask Clement in Boston about? I mean, test him on whether he's actually got it right.
I see. Gosh, I wasn't expecting that. Gosh. Well, Clement, I'm trying to think. So how long have you gathered this data for? Because is it sort of a recent occurrence, or have you got sort of quite a bit of data? Because before people publish anything, you want to have a bit of a robustness behind you. How much data have you got, and how much are you holding in reserve?
So the data that we announced today was taken between 2010 and 2012. So the last of that data was taken more than a year ago. And the reason that it's taken us a while to finalize the result and put it out is precisely because the result was so unexpected that we needed to check everything and really drill into every possible, slice and dice the data in every possible way to try and make sure that we weren't making a mistake, that there wasn't contamination either from the experiment or from sources on the ground or even from foreground emission from our own galaxy. But we're pretty sure, and we set everything out in the papers that we submitted today, and people can judge for themselves.
Okay, so supposing he's right, what's the significance? Let's assume.
Supposing he's right.
Because I will be the last to know, and so will many, well, apart from some of our viewers, I suppose. But let's assume that this is all as it appears. This is a sensational discovery. Why does it matter?
What we're looking at, there are two discoveries here. The first one, I'll talk about gravitational waves, or as I like to describe them, the elusive gravitational wave. So Einstein predicted them 1916. We've waited 100 years. Lots of other things that Einstein predicted in his general theory of relativity, gravitational lensings, other things like that, have been proved and verified. But gravitational waves was one of the elusive things that we didn't actually have any evidence to support. So just the fact that we've got that is another tick in the box for that theory. And then also this cosmic expansion. We have known, as you said in your start, we've known about the Big Bang for many, many years now. We've seen the evidence to support it. But it's what happened at the very start of the Big Bang. When you go from something unbelievably tiny, the very nugget of the universe, to something of the size of about a marble, there seems to be some glitches in that, things that didn't quite stand up with the theory. And so people made suggestions in in the 80s. They came up with suggestions of what happened, and they came up with this cosmic expansion. So in a very, very tiny time, there was a massive expansion. Now, when you get that, you get these gravitational waves produced, and that's what we're looking at the remnants of now. But that expansion was the blueprint for the universe we live in today. So the terms and conditions at that point dictate the universe we live in today.
Now, there are some people talking about how this provides a hint to the theory of everything.
That's right.
Can you explain just in layman's terms what that means?
Okay, so this process of inflation that's been discussed here actually acted as the origin of all the stuff that we see in the universe today. All the galaxies, clusters of galaxies, planets, everything came from tiny little ripples in space in the very early times. And this is a direct hint of that time and of that physics. So we have two theories. One is Einstein's general relativity, the theory of gravity. There's another pillar of modern physics, which is quantum mechanics. Actually, these two theories by themselves are inconsistent, and they have to be unified in a broader theory, a theory of quantum gravity. Now, you probably heard of string theory. That's a candidate for that. If we have gravitational waves at the level that they've detected today, it actually makes the physics at this really, really early time sensitive to a theory of quantum gravity. I think this could be a really tremendous leap in physics, not just in cosmology, but if this discovery pans out, it could point to quite a significant breakthrough in physics.
Funny for those of us in the tawdry old business of news. I mean, this really is news, isn't it?
This is news.
Having a grand theory of everything is what we've dreamed of.
This is what it's about.
Let me just talk to you in Boston, just very briefly. I mean,
And she said it all. This is what it's all about. This is everything about us that ever was or ever could be. I'm going to play you one more. This one is the gentleman who came up with the theory of expansion in the first place. And this is his understudy just getting ready to tell. He hasn't been, the professor has not been told that they found this yet. And even though this is a very short little video, and the last one, I promise you, before we get to gaming, It's poignant.
Stanford University.
Today I'm going to deliver a news to Professor Andre Linde, who is the founding father of inflation. So inflation is the theory about the bang of Big Bang. It explains why we have all this stuff in the universe. So today I'm going to tell him our experiment, Bicep 2, based at South Pole, has found the smoking gun evidence of inflation. He has no idea that I'm coming.
Wow.
So I have a surprise for you.
Wow.
It's 5 sigma at 0.2.
Discovery.
Yes.
What? Just a second. Can you repeat it?
5 sigma, as clear as day, are at 0.2.
Can you repeat it again?
Are 0.2 plus minus
0.2.
If we stop there.
Pop
We
into
don't
the
expect anybody.
Good
Renata
idea.
tells it's probably some kind of delivery. Did you order anything? Yeah, I ordered 30 years ago. Finally, it arrived.
Cheers, cheers.
30 years.
Congratulations.
30 years.
Oh my God, I'm going
You
to
spend
break
your life
something.
on this.
We are talking right now about the billions of a billions of a billions of a millions of a seconds after the Big Bang. So we see the face of the Big Bang. It is an image of these gravitational waves, which are purely quantum gravity feature of what was produced in the Big Bang. So this is a remaining part of the story.
It's really hard
They
to...
all there. They all
They're all
three
there.
different experiments.
Yes.
If this is true, this is a moment of understanding of nature of such a magnitude that it just overwhelms. And let's see, let's just hope that it's not a trick. I always live with this feeling, what if I'm tricked? What if I believe into this just because it is beautiful? What if, yes. So this is really helpful to have events like that. It's really, really helpful. Thank you so much for doing it.
Isn't that something? Biggest thing since forever in our lifetimes. All right, enough of that. We're going to get
For
the game in
more,
here.
please visit us at stanford.edu.
And I'm going to have to pull off for just a second to swap over the other one. And I'll be right back with
Stanford University.
you. Whoops, stop. Blooper. We'll be right back in just a moment.